mule deer. Big old 5x6, just what we want. First bull, baby. First bull. It's our first one together. Oh, Aaron. And if we wanna go, yeah, we can light this place up. Oh my, a freaking giant. Heck yeah. I'll take that for the last $8. Let's get to work. Stop talking. You there? You there? Headed off for an archery mule deer hunt in the Midwest. So we're trying to switch things up a little bit, keep things interesting, and we're going to the Midwest, and we're gonna hunt some lowland, open prairie country. Gonna meet up with a good friend, Tim Nickerson, that met over Instagram a few years ago, and we've become friends, and he's a great guy. So excited to see him and hang out with him and hopefully shoot a buck. We're headed off, 13, 14 hours driving. Looking forward to it. Not really. All right, just an update. We're a few hours into this drive and we have quite a few hours left. But anyway, we're trucking along. Crazy, we gotta see some fall weather, some orange, yellow leaves, a little snow on the mountain. It's starting to feel like fall. It's a good feeling. Driving sucks, by the way. Driving sucks. Cruising along, only a few more hours left, but it's starting to look like the Midwest. So we're out of the mountainous pines and high country, and it's looking flat, getting closer. Well, we've been driving for a whole lot of time. Just got a little dinner, and we are about to go meet Tim, so we're about an hour and a half away. We're gonna say hi to him, and he was kind enough to pull a camper up for us. But I'm excited to be back in the Midwest. It's a beautiful place. Here we are, warm inside, and this is gonna be home sweet home for the next few days. Yeah, we got here late at night. So we're gonna get to bed. We gotta wake up bright and early and get ready. Tomorrow we're gonna go take inventory, drive around, kind of get to know, where we can and where we can't hunt, and basically from there we're hunting. So Tim's gonna be with us tomorrow, kind of showing us around. But anyway, hopefully we can get a good buck in a good spot and make it happen. So good night, peeps. Good morning, folks. You ever woke up after driving for 15 hours? Feel like a train ran me over twice, and then a plane hit me too. Nice and early here. Just gonna get my stuff together and it's go time. Tim's gonna come over and he's gonna hunt with us today and kind of show us around and try to find a big buck to go put an arrow in. So it's gonna be a good day. We're just driving to our glassing spot this morning, and right off of our glassing spot there's a nice buck, big tall sucker, and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna get in this cut and we're gonna sneak over to the edge of this corn, and it looks like the deer are feeding right to the road. So, let's do this. We gotta remember those does are right there.
There's that one in front of him.
So we gotta be really careful right when we get to the edges. There's a chance he just cut across this corn patch and is going to those coulees across the road. I don't know what he... Long story short, I ranged him at 68, but I think I hit a corn stalk or something. And he walked off, and we've been just trying to be patient. He's not hit. But we don't know. We saw him go off towards the fence, but he never jumped it, as far as we could see. So we're gonna go try to get eyes on him again. His does are over here still, but to pull a base map. And luckily we do have permission to go onto this, so we're gonna hop the fence and see if we can glass that buck off this coulee. And if we can't pick him up, we're gonna go back and look for the arrow. But we gotta let him bed. Bowhunting sucks. It was way fun, and we found an awesome buck. Right now we're just following him. He's going a long ways, but we're just gonna see if we can rebed him and put another stalk on him here later. So when I shot at that buck, I heard my bow made a super strange sound. And look at my quiver is super loose. So, I mean, do I think that there's a chance that affected the shot? Maybe. It was pretty loud. But that's why you always freaking check your stuff. Long drive on bumpy roads. Dang, that sucks. Okay, well, we're gonna get out of here. Saw a couple other bucks. One looks pretty good. They're feeding this way. We're gonna try to cut them off. he's in like a little bit of corn, but there's not much corn. But he's out in the middle of the open. So there's not really anything we can do. There's another little buck. Oh, more. I don't know, 200-ish. Not close. So we got a decent 4-point bedded, but the wind is good, and I think he's probably gonna move into these coulees. I think we'd probably have a good shot if we were patient, but I want to see what else is out there. And I missed that real nice buck earlier, so I think we're gonna pull out, pick up those sheds, and go find Peyton's back in the corn, and go meet up with Tim. But what a freaking fun morning. I sent it, baby. The ice is broke. After picking up the sheds we found, or better yet, the second place prizes we received from the bow hunting gods saying, better luck next time, I had to deal with the issue of my bow. When I let that shot fly on that nice buck, something was off. There was a loud smack. After looking it over, my quiver had been bumped to the side on the right end, and the string had slapped against it when I shot. Using the Allens for my goat knives, I tightened it back on, hoping that was the only fix it needed. We talked with Tim and Colin on where that buck might be, and made a game plan to walk to the edge of the corn and slowly peek into each coulee system, hoping to see some antler tips of a bedded buck. We saw where the big buck bedded this morning. Well, we don't know exactly where he bedded. We know the general area. And so we're gonna go in and see if we can get lucky. We're gonna go slow glass, see if we can pick up antler tips, but let's go. Too. I think the wind shifted and he caught up. Looks like I got him a little far forward. These things open them up, but there's not much blood and it's not very encouraging. Not where I wanted to hit the buck. It's forward and it actually hit him in the neck, but we just crossed the fence and there's a lot of blood. So time time to get busy tracking this buck. We're gonna go really slow, maybe give it some time actually before we even take off. But Peyton's gonna show you some of this blood here.
You know when you cut your thumb and it won't stop bleeding? Then it starts to seem a lot worse than it actually is. Essentially, that's what's happening here. But instead of your thumb, it's your neck, and you're wondering why some guy in camo just threw a sharp stick at you. We ended up tracking this buck all the way through the corn, following a decent blood trail the whole time. But once we got close to the edge of the corn, the blood stopped and we couldn't tell if the buck crossed the road or doubled back into the corn. We decided to keep hunting and decided that the buck would be just fine and would make a full recovery. Of course, I did feel sick about it at the time because you never want to wound an animal and have him suffer. Luckily, the buck ended up being just fine. I know this now because 2 months later, during the rifle season, one of Tim's family members ended up shooting the buck. He had a battle scar from running into me, but other than that was perfectly healthy. It's comforting to know he recovered and someone else was able to harvest him.
We followed that buck for a long time and blood petered out, and so looks like he's just fine. We're gonna go sit a field and see if him or another mature buck comes out tonight, but let's go. Let's get it. Sit on the edge of this cornfield and this other open pasture, and Tim says there's been some deer that come and go. There's a nice buck in here, he said, so this is kind of our makeshift blind right here, and we're just gonna sit our butts down and see what happens. Be patient. Hopefully a good buck comes. Showed up, and Colin just shot a buck, so we gotta go track blood. So Tim's pulling up now, and we're gonna go find a buck, hopefully.
Colin hit it good?
Yeah, he says it did. I wasn't there, I didn't get it on film. We were sitting there in the yard there where the camper is, and just watching the road, and I've never seen this buck be a behemoth.
Nice.
Comes out of the corn, crosses the road, he bails and runs through the trees, and by the time he gets across the road, he's standing in the ditch. He's got him at 51 yards. He stood, turned back and looked at him broadside, so he smoked him right behind the shoulders.
Colin shot a buck right at dark, and Colin and Tim did not have headlamps, so they had to go back to town. It looks like the shot is pretty good. Like, the blood is soaked on the arrow. The arrow's soaked in blood, so it looks good. Those guys are about an hour behind us, maybe a little more, and we're gonna go try to find this buck for him. We should find it. I mean, it looked good, so hopefully we find it. We looked for about 3 hours for Colin's buck tonight. Pretty sparse blood except for a couple spots. It looked like when he was bedded once, he had blood and some lung matter coming out both sides, but other than that, it was pretty sparse. So we dropped a pin on base map for the last blood, and then those guys are gonna probably go look tomorrow. But as for me, gonna eat these bear broths, go to bed. Good night. It's morning, and this morning came fast. I was real tired, so we tracked Colin's buck till midnight. But yeah, just a little tired, so we're getting ready to go though, because we're gonna kill a buck today, and high optimism. We're gonna have fun, we're gonna smile, and we're gonna enjoy our hunt and have fun.
That next morning, we hunted around and saw a few smaller bucks, but it was definitely slower than the day before. With not much happening, we were excited when we got a text from Tim saying they had found Colin's deer. This was one of the biggest bucks he's gotten with his bow, so sharing this experience with him was awesome. Not to mention, Colin's had a rough go with his health, and so I don't see anyone else that deserves a big buck more than Colin.
All right, so here's Colin's buck, awesome buck. And I missed this buck in the morning, and this buck walked across the road, huh?
Yeah, we were watching the road in the pickup. We didn't really know where to go, and we saw him cross the road, and we got in front of him, went through some trees, and got him right at 52 yards. And we've tracked him all night. And
yeah, we tracked him all night. He went all through the field and zigzagging back and forth, and just took him a little bit to fill up with blood. Awesome buck, dude.
thank you. I appreciate all your guys' help.
You betcha. That's cool.
After eating some elk burgers and making sure Peyton got some veggies in him, I told his mom before we'd left that I'd make him eat his veggies. We continued hunting. I'm not going to lie, the next couple of days were pretty slow. We sat the bean field again without much luck, saw some amazing sunrises, and walked through a bunch of corn. Eventually, I got to put some stalks on a couple smaller bucks, but nothing seemed to line up.
So I was glassing the shadows of these junipers, and I found a body laying there, and it looked pretty chunky and big, so I knew it was a buck. And we finally got eyes on it, and it's still a little bit hard to tell. I don't think it's a big buck, but he's definitely one of the bigger bucks we've seen here, so I'm gonna bail off and slowly make my way to him. As I got in on that buck, there was a really super steep, thick ravine, and I knew he was tucked in there. And so I was just kind of skirting it to see if I could get eyes. And he either smelt me or saw me, but I'm not sure which. But he was tucked in there so dang hard. The wind was kind of swirly the whole time, but I mean, I had to have been within 15 yards of him. When you got up to the top and were up these trees, they were feeding right towards you, all four of them, and then they just took off and went back over to the next draw.
They must have smelt me.
Yeah.
At one point I had him just above 50. No big buck anyway.
No, the 4.0 there is bigger.
That's fun. Walk of shame now.
Hunting mule deer in the Midwest in September before the corn is cut is extremely difficult. Those big, mature bucks stay in the corn and don't come out until after dark. Tim and Colin took us everywhere they could think of, trying to find a buck we could put a stock on. But with the extremely warm weather, the deer just weren't moving out of the corn until right before sunset. This was making things extremely difficult because if you don't see deer, you can't put a stock on them. Eventually, it came down to the last morning. We were going to drive the roads and check everywhere we'd been that last week, just hoping to find some bucks to go after. Luckily, we located some deer, but the unlucky part was that they were on a neighboring property, so we made a game plan to try and cut them off.
Saw a buck that's pretty decent. So we're gonna try to get the wind right and get in on him. We're gonna have to loop way down because the wind's going right at him. Peyton and I made a perfect stalk, and the deer came to 40 yards on us. And a buck we named Droopy, he's got like ears that sag. He came to like 44 yards, and I didn't want to shoot him. It's our last morning, but just didn't want to shoot him. Didn't want to shoot him just because it's the last day, but way cool. They're still like 100 yards staring at us.
Had a great trip here. Tim is such a nice guy. Had a great time hanging out with him and his family, and you know, a lot of times that's what it's about. Just hanging out with good people, and we get to hang out with Peyton, the cameraman. He did a great job this trip, and we had a blast together. So, driving home, got a muzzleloader deer hunt I gotta prepare for. So long, Midwest.
Hey guys, thanks for watching episode 3 of our Send It series. For this episode, we're giving away a Tactacam 5.0 action camera and a Tactacam spotter LR. The Tactacam 5.0 is perfect for mounting on your bow or gun to record hands-free so you never miss a shot. And the Tactacam spotter LR is perfect for recording these long-distance shots through your spotter, and the footage is top-notch. To enter, all you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment on this video. We'll announce the winner on Instagram and Snapchat, so be sure you're following us there. Good luck, guys.